America has been presented with a unique and profound opportunity to make history. America finds itself now at an inflection point. I took some time to read the comments, the DMs, the messages, to understand and listen to the grievances, the concerns, the worries, and provide a thoughtful response to what's going on. And I'll approach it from a logistical point of view as well as a social dynamic point of view. Because what we see logistically, and I mentioned this in a previous video, in that previous video, I want to be very clear about what I was referring to. That previous video was predicated on and in response to the idea of switching campaigns, meaning removing the incumbents, plural, from the ticket and replacing them. That would result in a loss of incumbency, which could likely have complications as it pertains to getting the new campaign's name on all 50 states' ballots, in addition to the $300+ million in funds raised by the Biden-Harris campaign not being transitive in the sense that it will not be transferred over to a brand new campaign. But what we see happening now does not fit either of those criteria. Why? Because the incumbent stepped down and endorsed another incumbent. Understand that donors and a decent amount of voters called very loudly for President Biden to step down. And President Biden put the country before himself and decided to step down. In doing that, though, he endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris. What does this mean? It means that because Vice President Kamala Harris was already on the incumbent ticket, she maintains incumbency. Additionally, given that Vice President Kamala Harris was already part of the Biden-Harris campaign, the $300+ million in funds that they accumulated, they maintain. Right. Which is why this situation has just presented a unique and powerfully impactful opportunity to make history. Additionally, when it comes to the social dynamic component of things, we are looking at an inflection point in America where we, as Americans, are going to have to make the decision and the choice between regression and progression. We, as Americans, are going to have to make the decision and the choice between going backwards and moving forward. We, as Americans, are going to have to make the decision and the choice between whether or not we are going to revert or move in the direction of positive change. Because understand that everyone who is going to vote for Biden will vote for Harris. But there was a select group, a rather large group of people actually, who was reluctant to and became apathetic towards the idea of voting for Biden. Why? Because this group of people, this group of voters, saw Biden and Trump as but two sides of the same coin. They were too similar. They were the same, remember? That was the argument. In addition to Biden's age and his stuttering and stammering, the argument was also these candidates were too similar. But now, we see candidates who could not be more different. We see candidates who represent completely different ideologies. We see candidates who represent completely different things in a way that can be received even by those who could not receive it before. We see candidates who are polar opposites. From an objective lens, you cannot compare these two. So now we have to make a choice. Are we going to choose to go back or go forward? This presidential nominee change I'm actually starting to see has invigorated and energized people, specifically people in the Democratic Party, to vote, to battle at the ballot box. It has invigorated and energized people to get out there and fight for something now, because what was at stake before is still at stake now. What we were fighting for before, we're still fighting for now, but there's an added layer now. There's an added piece, an added component, an added aspect of things, and that is we now have the unique and profound opportunity to make history. The unique and profound opportunity to change the trajectory of this country. The unique and profound opportunity to redefine what America is as a nation. Are we going to be hopeful enough, involved enough, engaged enough to do it? That's the question now. And I think the answer is yes. I know the answer is yes. Because see, I have seen, which is why it took so long to respond, a shift in the positive direction. Just today, from when the news dropped to right now, I've seen the energy become amplified. I've seen people become very involved quickly. I've seen people's apathy leave through social media, through conversation. I've seen it. I've heard the concerns, which I hope that I was able to address logistically. Those concerns, logistically speaking, are answered already. Those concerns, logistically speaking, are already taken care of, because they maintain incumbency and they maintain their $300+ million in campaign funds. So logistically speaking, they will also be able to get on the ballot because the incumbency ticket maintains an incumbent. Understand that we've been presented with an opportunity. Look at it as such. Look at it in the manner in which it is. And look at it for what it is. And have hope, understanding that if we lock in, focus up, get out and vote, we have the opportunity to make history in this country and show that our work is not in vain, that all this progress means something, that our efforts have an impact. We have the opportunity now to do something that's never been done before and that needs to be done. We have the opportunity to make history. We have the opportunity to do things to put this country on the right path, in the right direction. We have the opportunity now to elect the first Black woman president of the United States of America.